Welcome back to the podcast. We're dedicated to scaling success in the competitive world of hotels and resorts. This is an industry facing everything from a volatile demand and to the booming ultra luxury market. Leaders need more than great service, they need a brilliant strategy. So joining us today is Danielle Porter. She's the general manager of the luxury boutique hotel, the Ella Hotel in Austin, Texas. She has a very deep background in the industry with an MBA and a level 1 sommelier certification. Is that correct? Congratulations on
Yes.
that. So Danielle brings with her a rare blend of operational excellence and a dedication to outstanding customer service and customer experience. So welcome to the show. So glad you can make it on a Friday. Well, it's Friday afternoon here. Must be Friday afternoon there as well.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Well, welcome. So before we get started, so how I sort of focus on things is my brain goes from sort of macro to micro. So talking sort of an industry level and then specifically down to what you're seeing and experiencing and anything that, you want to comment on in that space. So before we get too deep into it, can you give us a brief overview of yourself and the hotel and how long you've been there and what you've been doing with them?
Sure. Thanks so much, Susan. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to be here and share some knowledge. So hopefully someone can learn a thing or two. But yeah, my name is Danny. I've been in hospitality for 10 plus years. I started out serving and bartending in college and kind of worked my way into Marriott hotels about 10 years ago. So I started off as a food and beverage supervisor, made my way through restaurants, bars, learned a lot, and then I had a really great opportunity to move to the island of Maui. So I lived in Hawaii for about 4 years, where I worked at two different Westin hotels in Ka'anapali and Lahaina. And then I took a director of food and beverage position out in Austin, Texas. And then now I'm in my first GM role at Hotel Ella, which is a luxury boutique property located in West Campus in downtown Austin. So been here for almost a year now, and the hotel has just been fantastic and just performing very well. So
Yes, congratulations. I have gone online and looked at the reviews and stuff of the hotel. Lots and lots of excellent reviews. So congratulations on that. So one thing I wanted to ask you is the Ella Hotel an independent hotel, or are you associated with a hotel property management company at all?
that's a great question. So Hotel Ella is operated by Lark Hospitality. So we have 66 hotels in our portfolio as of today, but we're always looking to grow and expand and add to the portfolio. So 66 and counting.
Congratulations. Very good. So what are you seeing sort of at the macro level and across these 66 hotels in terms of where the challenges and opportunities might just generally be in the industry? And then we'll deep dive more into what you might be specifically experiencing in sort of terms of pain points, challenges, opportunities.
Absolutely. I think, starting from the top, if we want to look macro level, Lark specializes in boutique hotels of 100 guest rooms or less. So we're really proud and prideful of the space that we're in that niche market of 100 keys or less. And a number of our properties also have food and beverage as well, but we've kind of got an array of different properties across the United States, ranging from Hawaii all the way to the East Coast. And so it's a really great footprint of hotels that are all boutique. And yeah, that's the hospitality space that we operate in, and we're really proud of that.
So what in the macro level, let's stick to the macro for a moment. So what is Lark's sort of overarching plan for the next 12, 18 months in terms of, are they looking to grow, add more hotels? Do you have any insight into that?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question. So Lark actually acquired Lifehouse Hotels about 6 to 8 months ago, could be a little bit longer. I've been with Lark, for the year of 2025. So I could be speaking a little bit off on in terms of when they acquired Lifehouse Hotels. But that brought Lark up to the 66 hotels that we're at to today. And, when I attend the home office meetings and I'm engaged with, our senior leadership team who do a great job in communicating, they really are proud that we are growing and we're going to continue to grow. And Rob Blood is our owner, amazing guy, and Peter Twachman is the CEO. And it really does start from the top. So growth is definitely on the horizon for Lark.
So what are you guys doing to demonstrate your expertise in this area? What competitive advantage are you giving these hotels? Like, what service offerings are you providing? So I'm assuming based on what you said, correct me if I'm being wrong, you work for Lark.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Okay. Because it wasn't clear on the website how all the everything worked. Because sometimes I'm talking to independent hotels, sometimes
Sure.
hotels, sometimes I'm talking to hotels that have property management groups such as yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's correct. Yeah, I'm employed by Lark.
Okay. So what sort of services are you actually offering the hotels? Like, do you go in and take over everything? Do you provide staff? Are you providing technology solutions? Tell me about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lark is essentially a hospitality management company where we'll go into a hotel and they employ the people, the processes, the various systems that, maybe the front desk uses or the housekeeping team uses or the collateral that sales uses to sell those properties. So the benefits of having Lark as a hospitality management company is that we have the tools and resources to bring your hotel to that next level. Not only financially have we got a great proven track record, but also the people who are employed by Lark. That's one of our signature competitive advantages, in my opinion, is the talent that we have. Select and hire the best talent to get you where you need to be and whatever your goals are. Financially, reduction in turnover, increased improvement of processes across all of the departments. So I definitely say talent is the biggest thing for us.
So in terms of talent, have you experienced or has Lark experienced any difficulties in finding good talent in the industry?
I mean, I can speak, I'm over just my one singular property, but I think there are always going to be challenges when you're looking for individuals who are of top tier talent in their industry and in their sector. So I think there are the normal challenges of just the job market, but I think one thing that Lark does pride themselves on is that we do take our time to fill higher level roles. We are intentional with the people that we bring on. We want to ensure that when they do come on board, we train them properly so that they are set up for success. But we also are looking for individuals who are innovative and creative and who can add value to the organization as well. So as much as experience is valued, we also want that individual who's coming on, whether it's a property level associate or somebody coming on to the larger part of the Lark crew. It's important that they are also innovative and want to add value overall.
Yeah, because I was noticing on the site and in your LinkedIn profile as well, the focus on customer service. And that demonstrates, like, it's so critical to have the right people on staff to be able to deliver that well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I always think, hospitality is smaller than we think, but hospitality isn't like, it's not a thing, it's who you are as a person. It's the character that you bring, the motivation that you drive. And at the end of the day, it's how you make other people feel and the impact that you have on their lives. Every guest that comes and stays at a Lark hotel, we might not know what their day looked like, their week looked like, their year looked like, but we know that when you come into any Lark property, that you will feel at home, you will feel that hospitality and the authenticity and genuineness of our team members across the portfolio is what sets us apart from other hospitality management companies and brands.
Excellent, excellent. So you mentioned a few minutes ago about the systems that you bring in. So you're going into these new hotels, or new to you, new to Lark. Are you providing all of the processes, systems, people? Like, do you have a systems package that you are implementing, or are you leveraging any of the existing software that is existing in some of them?
Yeah, great question, Susan. So to my knowledge, when Lark goes in and signs a contract with the property, we're bringing in all of our tools and resources that we have in our toolkit, which include those systems and processes. So I haven't necessarily seen us go into a hotel or a property and use the existing, software, but I could not be correct. I'm not 100% sure, but for the most part, what I do know is that we'll go in, we've got our toolkit. This is what we can do. This is how we can manage the property in the hotel. And here's the kind of the how we're going to get there. And part of that is using our systems and processes from, front desk, sales, housekeeping, marketing, all that good stuff.
So can you talk a little bit about those systems and tools and at a high level what they are, how they came about, how you selected them, what benefit they're adding compared to, because there's a lot of tools in any industry. There's a lot of tools. There's a lot of stuff going on. And in particular, if you are potentially evolving those tools and systems as AI is starting to play a bigger role in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So, across the board, all of our properties are on Muse, which is our PMS system. So that's used obviously for guest folios, checking in guests, and it also is a great tool for our housekeeping team. So that's our front desk process and system. And then we use various systems for food and beverage or events. Right now, we're using Triple Seat, which essentially allows us to respond to a lead from the moment it comes in, all the way to detailing their event, to closing them out and sending them an invoice. So Triple Seat's a great all-in-one program, very user-friendly for, sales, events, food and beverage. And then our POS system, which is our point of sale system, we use Toast. So Toast is a great POS system for food and beverage. At my specific property at Hotel Ella, we have a 3-meal period restaurant right off our lobby. And then we also have a speakeasy inspired bar in our mansion, which is kind of the fun uniqueness of our hotel. So Toast is great with obviously all of the reporting, taking the orders and making sure that our sales are in line, but we also use it as a part of our inventory, and we do monthly inventory. So these are just some of the high level systems that we use throughout LARC at all of our hotels.
So I'm assuming then probably Muse then, is that where you're looking at the management of your occupancies and your daily rates and all of
Exactly.
that?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. And we also use a few other systems, a few other reporting systems like Flyer, which is also a great tool for revenue management, which is fantastic. I mean, I couldn't say any more positive things about that program. I think it's really great. That's where you can see all of your, room revenue. You can look at your daily rate, which is your ADR. You can also look at your RevPAR, which is your revenue per available room, occupancy, and there's a great amount of statistics that provide you with a lot of data so you can compare, month over month. How are we doing compared to same time last year? And so that's a really great program as well.
So if all these hotels, all these 66 hotels are using the same system, is it using the same version of it or instance of it so that everybody's using the same system so that you can roll all the data up and get your reporting by hotel, by region, overall for LARC?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. To my knowledge, yes, everybody's on the same version, if you will, for all of these systems and programs. Of course, some of the hotels and properties have different revenue structures. You might have a 30-room hotel that does $1.5 million a year, but then you've got a 100-room or a 90-room hotel that does $10 million a year. So it definitely varies across the board, but everybody's on the same programs, to my knowledge, for the most part. And I think that can show, the home office team and our senior leadership team, where we can roll up all the data based on region or state or, even just overall organization altogether.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use a specific example here. You've mentioned, guest experience is very important to you, and all the hotels I'm talking to, it's so nice to hear that guest experience is top of mind for everybody, which is great. What are you doing in the guest experience space that stands you apart?
Guest experience is just near and dear to my heart. I think that is the pulse of our hotel, specifically at Hotel Ella. And of course, this pulse is throughout LARC, but I'd love to talk specifically about what we do and how we make an impact, I think, on the guest experience at our property. We host a lot of weddings, 15, 20 weddings per year. So we're a huge wedding venue in Austin. And so we have a lot of opportunities to make that one day for that couple very, very special. And we do a really great job of that. And just some of the small touches that we do. We have welcome amenities for the bride and groom. When we host the ceremony out on our beautiful front lawn, we have team members that hold open our mansion doors, that are about 200 years old for the bride to walk out. And so it's the small things. We have 47 guest rooms, and I don't want to say we only have that amount, because it doesn't matter, but we are able to, as a team, I know who's staying in room 102. It's an intimate property. So if I see John Smith check in, I might also see him over at our bar or hanging out by the pool, and I can go, have a conversation with him and find out, oh great, it's his birthday or his wife's birthday or it's their anniversary. And so we're huge on amenities here and personalizing the amenities. And something that I really like to preach to my team is the infamous, Ritz-Carlton $2,000 rule. Now, I'm not saying that our property has the budget necessarily to spend $2,000 on a guest, but the theme of that rule is that make somebody's day, create a memory for that guest. And that could be a card, it could be an amenity, it could be, hey, let me make a dinner reservation for you for your anniversary. I know someone who can get you into that restaurant you've been wanting to go to. Or, walking someone to their vehicle. We walk every single guest at check-in to their guest room. And so it's these small things that really impact somebody's stay. And that is, I think, what is most important. And of course, our team is always wanting to be innovative and create new ways on how we can impact that guest. But really, it comes down to the people who are on my team, because they're all wonderful and just fantastic. And it's about creating those connections with the guests. So,
have you been impacted at all? Some of the hotels I've spoken with have seen a shift in hotel guest behavior in terms of automated check-ins, automated checkouts, and sometimes, there's a portion of guests that don't even come to the front desk, really. You know what I mean? Like they're automatically checked in. And so what they're trying to figure out and work through is, how do they maintain that relationship with the guest and really get to understand who they are and what they need, because how the guests are showing up and what they want to need is sometimes shifting a bit.
Yeah, I definitely think, we also offer mobile check-in for our guests.
Okay.
So I think in order for us to continue that relationship and conversation, we use a text messaging program called Akia. And so we send a text message to all of our guests to welcome them to the hotel. It also gets sent out a week before their arrival, just in case they have any special requests, so that we can make sure that their stay is comfortable. And then we also send out blurbs, throughout their stay, letting them know, hey, we'll see you in Parlor Bar for happy hour, or, our restaurant is open from this time to this time, or we've got live music this evening, come check it out. So we have a program that allows us to connect with our guests via text messages. And I think that's a big piece of being able to communicate with them, even if we're not seeing them at check-in or check-out.
And how is that trend moving? Are more and more people going that way? Like, are things shifting for your particular guest profile at your hotel?
So I would say at our particular hotel, we still get a lot of guests who are coming to the desk to check in. And I also want to preface it because we are a very old and historic property. So a lot of our guests are very interested in the aesthetic that we have, the vibe that we have, the music we're playing. What does the lobby look like? What does the parlor lounge look like? And all of that can be seen in the lobby, So I would say majority of our guests are still coming to see us at the desk to check in, mainly for those reasons, because they want to see, that we have a record player in the lobby, and just some really fun kind of historical touches and pieces, and a lot of rich history that's available to read. We've got a lot of books and information. So I'd say majority of our guests are coming to see us at the desk to check in.
That's great. I was going to say, is it fair to say, but that's a bit of a leading question. Do you get a lot of repeat business?
We do. We get a lot of repeat business, and I'll talk a little bit about two pieces here because we've got two different types of guests. We have guests who are traveling for leisure, to have a fun trip. And then we've also got guests who are a part of a group. So, we have a couple different types of business travelers. So our repeat business for our leisure guests, we've got families who might come and do a staycation once every few months. Or we've got parents who are parents over students at UT, which is just across the way from us. And, takes on average 4 or 5 years for a student to graduate college. So we'll see those parents every single year checking in to come for Parents Weekend for UT, or just coming to visit their child. And then on the group side, what's really great is we've got a couple groups that will book, a dinner or a conference with us once a quarter, and they've done it with us for multiple years. And really that's because of the service and the impact that we have on them. And so yes, we do get quite a bit of repeat business, but we are also looking to, entertain and show people what true hospitality is for anyone who hasn't been to our hotel.
Very nice. Very nice. How were you impacted, or were you even impacted that much through COVID? And where are you sitting now compared to pre-COVID in terms of your occupancies and rates and revenues?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're doing great. I mean, I think COVID obviously was something that was, devastating for the world. And now I think 5 years, almost 6 years, we're coming out of that. We've started to see, hospitality really pick up again. And on that leisure side as well, it's great to have somebody who's wanting to come and visit just for fun, just to relax. We do get the business traveler as well, somebody who's attending a conference or in town for meetings or what have you. So I definitely think that we are coming back. We're stronger. Our occupancy is picking up nicely. What I will say is our rate is a little bit soft because of our market. And so, that's just something that we've got to look at and really be strategic on going into 2026 as well. How are we going to hold a strong rate while also buying that occupancy compared to our comp set?
Right. Do you get a lot of your bookings through the online booking systems?
Yeah, that's a great question, Susan. I was just doing kind of my weekly lookup on direct bookings versus OTAs, and we perform well on direct bookings. Our website is very attractive. It's very user friendly, but most importantly, it's informational. Any question that a guest might have prior to booking with us, I like to say that our website is flushed out very well. Marketing team and digital marketing team have done a great job on that. So yeah, we get quite a bit of direct bookings, OTAs like Expedia, booking.com, Kayak. Of course, we'll always get those, and we will always welcome those guests as well. But, I think to all my other industry leaders, we know that direct bookings are number one.
Yeah. So are you seeing a shift there? Is that increasing, decreasing? Is that something you want to continue to grow and expand those bookings, or are you looking to have more direct bookings or a mix? What is the plan?
Yeah, I would say going into 2026, I think, we definitely want to increase our direct bookings, through our marketing team and our efforts there through the website, and just making sure that we're up to date. We've included a happenings page on our website as well to, drive some foot traffic centered around our activations that we host on property. So I definitely think the goal is to increase direct bookings. We want people to book direct with us, and like I said, our website is very informational. It's user friendly. It's got everything that you need on there. So we definitely want to keep pushing our efforts towards those direct bookings.
So you were talking about your marketing and sales team. So is that done centralized through Lark, or do each of the individual hotels have their own sales and marketing teams?
Yeah, so at our property, we have a wonderful sales team. So we are kind of one of the larger properties in the portfolio. just based on key count and total operating revenue. So we do have an on-site sales team. However, Lark has a fantastic, home office sales team as well that sells, different properties. So it kind of depends on the size of the property and what their hierarchy looks like. But we've got an on-site sales team split up essentially into two different markets, and our marketing is done centralized through Lark.
Okay. Okay. So based on a lot of what you've said, what would you say for your hotel? And then we can talk about Lark. What is the biggest pain point right now that you're looking to solve for the rest of 2025 and then well into 2026? Anything, if you had to
Yeah,
pick one, what would it be?
one thing, I mean, to be honest, Susan, our hotel is performing far better than we have, and I'm very, very proud of our team. And so we're rounding out 2025 on a very, very positive note. Very strong GOP, and our ownership group is very happy. I would say the biggest challenge and pain point ending this year going into 2026 is that our market specifically is forecasted to be down 8% next year.
Oh, wow.
So that is going to be a tough hit for the Austin market. And so with that, we have to be extremely strategic as we go into the year. We need to have a great crossover goal and have as many group room nights on the books as possible from both social and corporate, which we're doing well. We're layering those in. And then we also have to have an excellent leisure transient sales strategy going into Q1 to really set us up for the year. And so part of that really looks like being innovative and creative. What packages are we offering on the room side? What does food and beverage have that we're leveraging to get in some more foot traffic and drive our capture rate for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, for guests in the bar? And then also, the third piece to this is what is our marketing plan and strategy to drive in local foot traffic into our outlets as well?
What's driving the 8% decline?
I genuinely think it's partially, just the overall nature of the economy. Cost of living is on the rise, travel is on the rise. I think travelers just don't have the same amount of disposable income or accessibility to travel on the leisure side. I think, group travel, I think will still maintain, and it's looking fairly strong for 2026, but it's really that leisure transient side that we're seeing that decline due to the economy.
And so when you were talking about that 8%, you were talking specifically about your hotel. You're talking about all the hotels within the portfolio,
Yes,
correct?
exactly. Specifically on the room side.
Okay. And so is that sort of like an industry stat as well, that the entire industry is looking at potentially an 8% hit in 2026?
I mean, I don't know if that 8% is across the industry, but I definitely know in our specific market it is. Now, Austin also has a convention center that has closed this year and will not reopen until 2029. So that's a pretty heavy lift and a pretty heavy impact as well, because the city has lost kind of these larger groups coming into town, really stimulating our economy. But now that we've lost that convention center, we're losing some of those bookings to Dallas, Nashville, even Houston, looking at different Texas markets and surrounding states. So that also has a pretty large impact, I would say, on that 8% decrease in the market.
So to fill that void, that recent void, are you looking at potentially expanding into who you're marketing to and who you're targeting?
Absolutely. I think, like I stated, we have a very solid, transient leisure strategy. We really want to get those guests over to Austin. We're really looking at, what does our drive-in traffic look like? What does our air travel look like? And just to speak briefly on that as well, the Austin Bergstrom Airport is expanding and adding a third terminal. So, once that is underway and developed, I think that in conjunction with the convention center reopening in a few years, we'll start to see that pick up again.
Yeah, so you've got a few years where things could be a little more challenging than they currently are.
Absolutely. And I think that's why it's just very important to have those strategies in place. And not only for me or even Lark as a whole, but our entire boots on the ground team needs to know and understand those strategies. How are we driving revenue at the front desk via upgrades in rooms? Do you have a small retail space where you can sell merch or swag or even some food and beverage items? How do you capitalize on all those small incremental areas of opportunity to drive that ancillary spend, increase your RevPAR, especially if, rate is going to be challenging going into 2020s.
And this gets back to what you were saying earlier on how important the customer experience is because they've got fewer dollars to spend and are traveling less. Their loyalty to places they enjoy and are getting good service is going to be there.
Exactly.
That's on the revenue side. Are there any opportunities sort of on the cost side to help control costs?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And in 2025 compared to 2024, our specific property, because of the processes and the people, we've really tremendously reduced expenses. Not necessarily on the labor side, we're fairly flat, but on our COGS, all of our costs of goods, from housekeeping GL expenses to our food costs, our beverage cost. Our team is very intentional with our spending. We are very, very people that plan ahead and we look ahead. So, when we're starting off the month, we want to see what is our budget, where are we forecasting to actually end up? That way I know, hey, if I'm going to miss my budget by $20,000, I need to reduce my spend. Just because my budget is there for my expenses, I need to make sure that it's in line with our business levels and our business demand to make sure that we're still hitting those percentages. And our team has done a fantastic job this year with managing all of those COGS, and we'll continue to have those same processes going into 2026 and be, very strategic month over month of where we're spending and how we're spending it.
So within the next 12 to 18 months, you're looking at increased marketing and sales, increasing your customer base, or at least trying to maintain it and not get hit by the 8%. You are effectively managing your costs, your COGS on that side of the fence. What else are you going to be doing in the next 12 to 18 months? Are you looking to be potentially investing in any IT, any AI types of things, any different marketing strategies, like brand new things that you haven't tried? Like, what's the plan? Or are you just hoping to maintain while you're waiting for the convention center and to reopen and for the new hotel airport terminal?
Yeah, I think it's 50-50, honestly. I think we obviously always want to push. We want to push that envelope and we want to exceed our budget. But I also am a very realistic leader and I want to make sure that the financial statements we're presenting to not only Lark, but to our ownership team are realistic and achievable. So I want to make sure that yes, we're maintaining, but we also need to level up on how are we driving revenue? Because the more we drive, we can manage our expenses, but we've got to keep focus on driving revenue. And that's through, like I had mentioned, upgrades with rooms, making sure we have a strong ADR, making sure occupancy is there. What type of specials are we running in the restaurant? We also, have various activations almost every month coming up in 2026, and a lot of those will be really great revenue drivers, from a dry January cocktail menu. We've got pool passes for the summer, we've got live music coming up, and just making sure that the heartbeat is always going at the hotel, because if we're always pushing and we're always driving revenue, I'm very confident that our team can continue to reduce the expenses, and just be mindful and very strategic in what we're buying.
Well, it sounds like you have a very solid plan in place. Very solid plan in place. So
Yeah. Yeah.
congratulations. That's amazing. Any other comments, points you'd like to make at this point, or any advice you would have for another general manager in the hotel industry?
Yeah, honestly, my biggest asset is my team.
Mhm.
I can't achieve a budget or certain financial goals without having a great team who's also aligned. And I am the type of leader who will share all of that information with my team. I want everybody to have their hand in the pot and to be involved. And I really, really think it starts with your leadership team, and it also trickles down to your hourly team members. I have amazing team members. I have a great housekeeping team, a great front desk team. Sales is wonderful. Food and beverage, just, top tier. And so it boils down, even our line cooks in the kitchen want to make sure we're scraping every last bit of that sour cream out of that tub. There's a reduction in waste. And so it's just getting everybody to buy in. And my biggest piece of advice is to buy into your team and to take care of them, and your top performers, mentor them, work alongside with them. I'm the type of leader, I'm very hands-on. I will make a cocktail in the bar. I will go strip sheets off of a room, and I will welcome guests in the lobby. So I encourage people to really be hands-on, know your team, know your departments, and, support them when they ask.
That is very, very good advice. Thank you very much for
Yeah.
that. That is awesome. And I think that all of that, there's a direct correlation between doing that well and the guest experience,
Yeah, absolutely.
guest loyalty.